We're back. Oh, God. I'm surprised Bill Gates hasn't been assassinated yet. I mean, there's enough people. Anyway, we're back. We're live. Lions fixed, or audio's fixed. Lions seem to be fixed too. Let's get back to it. Okay.
Let's not count our chickens, Chris. Hey?
Gobble gobble. Okay, so Kerryon Johnson. Let's talk a little bit about that. We left off with that, and that was my question. I saw he some people call it a stiff arm. I think he punched the motherfucker in the head, but as he was going out of bounds. But it caught him off a little bit, and they were taping his ankle. Was that a knee? It felt like an ankle, but I heard someone say knee, so I'm not sure where we're at. And yes, FTP in the chat.
Indeed, yeah. No, I can't say anything more than what I mentioned earlier on. I saw him on the cart getting what looked like heavy strapping on his ankle. So I'm going to say that from what I saw, ankle. So we'll have to see what the outcome of that is.
Yeah.
As regards, does he practice next week? And is he available to start? We'll see.
Has anybody seen anything in the chat? Or anyone in the chat seen anything on the post game or anything? No, I'm not seeing anything. All right, well we'll keep an eye out. If you guys hear anything about it, we'll go. Okay, let's go. Let's see. Keep rocking. Take your calls 248-782-8384. 248-782-8384. Where else would we be with this game? Matthew Stafford looked good. Got our 30 points that we need to win. I think that's kind of an ongoing thing with this team. They need to get 30 points a game in order to beat anybody. Hey, caller, what's your name? What's going on, man?
Hey, it's Chris. I'm from Flint. Just got done watching the game. I just added a few things real quick.
Sure.
You know, everyone's coming into this season, right? There's talk about Stafford. Stafford, he can't beat the big names and the great teams. I mean, where's the Stafford haters at right now? He didn't do it all today. He only threw for 160 or so yards, I think, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
He threw 2 touchdowns and a pick that was dropped. It should have been picked by Green Bay, I think. But he's beating the Tom Brady Patriots and the Aaron Rodgers Green Bay Packers. I think it's time to, start looking at this Lions team. They're beating the good teams now. Obviously, we dropped to the Jets and San Francisco and, Dallas. You could make an argument we should have had that. But,
yeah. 2 points
Jets,
only.
Jets, Jets flat out beat us. They obliterated us. I'll give that one to the Jets. But, I mean, going into the bye week, 2-3, knocking off the Patriots and the Packers, all of a sudden I feel sort of good about ourselves.
Yeah, no, it's funny. After we beat the Patriots, one of the things I started hearing people say was that, they're just a they're not going to be a 500 team this year. It's like, what in the world are you doing, right? They automatically gave up on the Patriots because the Lions won, and it's like this kind of stigma that people have that they can't beat teams with a winning record. It's a different team. Week 1, I'm going to tell you, the Jets game, I just completely washed from my mind. It sucked. It was horrible and all that, but New coach, new system, new team. The first time really they had tried to play their scheme because they didn't do it in the preseason. Nobody really knew. They weren't as prepared as they should have been. But the other part is, week 1 is, I've said it a couple times, it's fool's gold. So many times that you just you can't believe what you saw. I mean, look at the Jets the rest of the year, right? They've just not played at that level ever again. And that was the Lions playing bad and them playing the best they probably will all season. So those things happen. You look at the San Francisco game. What was the score on that game? I feel like that one was like within just a couple points.
It was like 30-27, something around that.
Yeah, it was a close game. And you think of the game against Dallas, which there was fuckery again, as there seems to always be.
Yeah.
But it was a 2-point game. I mean, these are winnable games, and we're in it. And we scored the points we needed this time. I think, look, Green Bay walked all over us, right? And they made their mistakes and hurt themselves, but the reality is we did enough on defense to win the game, and the offense did. This is a team that needs points to win. It's just not going to be a defensive powerhouse, and we're not going to win games because of our defense.
And the last thing I want to add before I get off, I gotta go cook dinner and some shit. But our wide receiver trio, I think they need to start getting a whole lot of credit. I mean, they're freaking good. Kelly Galladay, he's making plays. Marvin Jones dropped a touchdown that was perfectly placed by Stafford. He makes plays. And you got Golden Tate, who's all reliable. He'll turn a 5-yard catch into a 30-yard run.
Yeah. That's dead straight on, man. And that's I purposely didn't mention Galladay because I wanted to see if somebody would bring him up. Man, that guy is on fire.
Yeah,
right.
That's a jersey.
I just wanted to add that on, and put him at the past 5 weeks. So I think we're in a sort of good spot, and I'm excited to see what's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you, man. Thanks for the call, and enjoy dinner, bro. All right.
Yep. Thanks.
Cheers. All right,
there we go. The receiving core is one of the reasons to be optimistic for the future, certainly at the moment.
Yeah, got another call here. Hey, caller, what's going on? What's your name? What you got going?
Hey, this is Jeff in Grand Rapids, Michigan. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Jeff?
Oh, I'm marvelous. Mike, good to see you hitting the bottle. As Lions fans, we all need to hit the bottle.
Yes, we do.
Anyway, okay, so one of Jeff Risden's favorite people, Jim Costa, over here in the west side of Michigan, he made a comment about Lions fans, whining about officiating, and I made a comment, well, the call that he specifically brought up was a crap call. And he said that Lions fans spend too much time complaining about calls their team gets. And my counterpoint to that is, as Lions fans, I think we probably spend as much time, being concerned about bullshit calls that we get, but also calls that the opposition doesn't get. And I think that's kind of like the thrust of this game. Yeah, there was the bullshit, thing on Jones and a couple of other things. But the point is, not one team ever gets called for defensive holding against the Lions. The Lions have 3 receivers who average more than 50 yards a game, yet they never get held. I mean, that's inconceivable.
Right.
So with all due respect to Jim Costa here in the Grand Rapids area, bite me, because as Lions fans, we have a bit of a complex, but for Christ's sake, it's well fucking deserved.
Yep, it's well founded.
It's almost ridiculous. And, and not to ramble on here a bit more, but my dad, he has said this since I became a Lions fan 38, 39 years ago. And his deal is back when the NFL was all about the gambling, the Lions were the worst team to gamble, because when they should lose, they won. When they should, win, they lost. And so that's why that the league was down on them, because they were a gambler-driven league at that point. I don't know if it's the same thing now, but something's fucking weird.
Yeah, it is. This year's a little different. I think with a new coach and new schemes and stuff, we're gonna see some wild swings like this. I feel like the offense has kind of found its legs. It wasn't a stellar game, but they played very, very sound football, and I think this is the right kind of step forward for them. But yeah, with the defense the way it is, they're going to be unpredictable as hell. It's just the way it is. But I think you get your draft and free agency next year. Scott Warhite did a great thing on the salary cap. We're going to be on the best side of the salary cap we've been on as far as I can remember in the salary cap league this offseason. And that means you don't build a team through free agency, but that means we can get 1 or 2 big names, hopefully on the defensive side of the ball. And the draft is thick with front 7 guys, so we should be able to really make some serious moves on probably the biggest gaping part of this team in this offseason. And then you look around and you say, you know what, we're built pretty well, and it really is that front 7 that leaves us gapped.
And to that point, potentially as moving forward, as they get better and gain more respect, and who knows, maybe we won't have as many times where we're going having our what the hell officiating moments.
Yeah.
And so it all one thing leads to another, one would hope.
Yeah. You got to outscore the officials too. it's something. Hey,
yeah. All right. Thanks, John.
Yeah, man. Thanks for calling in. There's one more thing that I saw that we didn't talk about with the officiating. They should have lost a timeout for throwing that challenge flag. We did. When Jim Schwartz asked Schwartz about that.
Is that so? Okay.
Yeah, and that's boy, that's again, like, as to his point, right? We can talk about bad officiating, right? And people talk, oh, you cry about officials, right? But once or twice a game it continues to happen, these ridiculously wrong calls, and they don't seem to fall in our favor very often. I'm trying to remember the bad call in our favor where I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Just one or two every game. And again, that OPI, there's a situation where the official called a penalty for something he didn't see. He didn't see it because it wasn't there. And he just, by the way it looked, he thought it was called. Well, that's not how you call. You should be making these calls. So,
And the other thing that happened in that game, there was a moment where the announcer said that a flag had been thrown and then picked up. And just at the back of my mind, just little, all right, okay. Now what's going on? So, but it never got followed through with anything on the screen, so we didn't get to see why it was even thrown, if indeed it really was.
Yeah. So yeah, Jiggly, in the chat, the muffed punt call was a bit iffy. It was Freudian as hell. Huh? I meant in the English way. Muffed punt call. That was a bit iffy. Absolutely, but I don't think. I mean, I looked at it and I couldn't tell, and they had to go with a call they made on the field. So that was something. Tactical Napper, who has an awesome name, by the way. He said they explained why they didn't take away the timeout, but couldn't recall the reasoning. I saw Blandino saying he couldn't figure it out unless it was the officials that told them they could throw the flag, and then they did, and then they realized that he couldn't. That was the only thing that Blandino came up with as far as why they didn't have it. I never trust Spielman.
So if you get a pass from the officials to do something that's against the rules, and it turns out that actually no, that really is against the rules, they take the rap. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
You'd think they'd know the rules, though.
You would think so.
Being the officials and all.
You would think so. I think they have training. I know they could use some more.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think they just go to, like, I don't know, Walmart or Costco or whatever it is to buy those black and white jerseys, do they?
Muffed punt call. Got it. Okay.
Punt call,
I want to say that really slowly from now on. All right. 248-782-8384. 248-782-8384. And join us, and we'll get you on the air. We'll talk about this wonderful win over the Packers. Anytime you beat a division opponent, especially the Packers, it's an absolutely good day.
Indeed. Yeah. How are you feeling about the rest of the division?
You know,
Vikings and Bears, obviously.
It's interesting with the Bears on bye this week. It's hard to tell because I just don't believe that the Bears are as good as they've been playing. I don't think they can sustain it. I just don't think they're that good. Green Bay looks like they're in trouble. Just how they played today, kicker aside. They can move the ball around a lot, but that's strictly all Aaron Rodgers. Every ounce of that offense is Aaron Rodgers. It's not a whole boatload of talent out there on the field for them. Their defense doesn't look very strong. I think they're in trouble. I don't know about Minnesota. They're tied with the Eagles right now, so we'll see how that plays out. But I think the Bears right now are the team to beat. Again, I think that they're going to have some difficulties as the season wears on. I think we're going to continue to get better and better. I'm feeling good about where we're at. Old School Warrior wants us to give Mason Crosby the game ball. MVP. Oh, man.
Oh, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
Is Tate the next Steve Smith? Interesting question. What do you think, Mike?
I honestly couldn't answer that one for you. You're going to have to explain to me the significance of Steve Smith.
Yeah, there's a couple ways that I'm thinking of this. Let's save that. You know what? I'm going to save that for this week's show, if you don't mind, Dennis, for the weekly show. I will. Okay, so he further clarified powerful small package. I'll say absolutely. He is way more powerful than his little body lets you think, and that shiftiness, he rolls. I mean, he continually, like, he's a top the second anyone touches him, and it's hard for people to get a good solid hit on him. but he's just he's doing his thing. Powerful small package, yes. I think he's got a lot more years because he doesn't tend to take a lot of really, really big hits. So I'm really leaning towards signing our man. Darren, thanks. I appreciate that. Let's see. Okay, so why third quarters? Why do we always get off such a slow start after halftime? That's a great question. That's a huge issue for this team.
Yeah, if only we knew the answer to that, we could tell Patricia what's going wrong.
Yeah,
because clearly we come out. It was. There's anyone listening in the UK will have heard this. There's a saying that applies to soccer. That is, it's a game of two halves. So quite a famous idiom, I guess. This really was a game of two halves for the Lions today. They were poles apart. The first half where we were dominant on all phases of the game pretty much. Mm-hmm. And the second half where the offense was still strong, but not as strong.
Sorry, the chat's
a little bit of a stutter going on there, like I referred to in last week's show. And also the defense just seemed to yield. I mean, the amount of times I could go through my notes, just looking at quarter 3 and quarter 4, when we were on defense, 1st and 10, 1st and 10, 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, 1st and 10.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like you say, a lot of that came down to Rodgers, but there was a 4th and 4 where he just had a chasm open up in front of him and he dashed for it.
Yeah. He took a lot of hits on that leg and came out fine. I thought that he was going to be in some serious pain after a couple of those hits, but I think now that brace is just him trying to act like he's fine, but he's just trying to make it look like he's some kind of superhero. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
No, fair play where, credit where it's due.
Okay, let me go ahead.
No, go on, dude.
I was so Darren in the chat tuning in for the first time. Chris is white? Question mark. And then of course Ash comes in only above the waist. Darren, that's good stuff. I love Ash. Awesome. All right, no, I want to talk about something because I made a comment earlier in the show, and it was a lazy comment, and I got to correct myself and I got to own it. We talked about how bad the front seven is, and Old School Warrior and Tactical Napper both, or was it Tactical Napper? Well, anyway, yeah, it was a couple guys here. They brought up two guys who were playing awesome, and first one is Deshaun Hand. He's been playing amazing. What a great pickup! And God, I thought I heard that Quinn couldn't draft. Someone said that somewhere, but seems like maybe he can. He's got a good guy there in Deshaun Hand. And then the other one, Old School Warrior. He asks, how does a team let a guy like Okawara go? And seriously, that guy has been playing out of his mind too, right? I mean, we have a couple guys up there that have been playing really, really well. It feels like we're just a couple pieces away. Even Jared Davis is not looking horrible anymore, right? No, I mean, he's playing solid. He's playing better than Whitehead did when Whitehead was here. He's progressing. I mean, we've got some solid pieces there. It isn't as bad as maybe we thought it was. And I was, like I said, I was exceptionally lazy with my comment because I'm trying to fix my microphones and stuff. And I said the front seven was bad, but there's pieces that we need definitely up there. But we've got some good guys. We've got some really, really good guys.
Yeah, we absolutely do. I mean, just looking at could we have reasonably expected, based on the earlier weeks football prior to today, to see that much pressure coming through? I mean, last week, one of the things I flagged was that there was minimal pressure on the quarterback. We saw a lot of that today. Granted, it took time to build, and it was only because on a lot of plays, Rodgers couldn't find an open target that they could sustain that pressure and get through to him. It wasn't immediate pressure, but when it came, it was impressive. It was, we saw him having to scramble and throw the ball away. He got called for intentional grounding on one of them, didn't he? When we was under a fair bit of pressure, but it was also, like you say, coming from multiple players.
Right.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Deshaun Hand is playing very well for us.
Yeah. Again, Old School Warrior. He's wrapping it up in the chat here. Would be nice to get Ziggy back in the field soon. Absolutely. God. I mean, and the old Ziggy. I don't think we're gonna see Ziggy back next year. I just don't think he's gonna make it, because he's not available. Let's talk a little bit about Kenny Galladay. We, in the offseason, that was one of the things we talked about, the three-headed monster out there with Tate and Marvin Jones and, of course, Matthew Stafford. And if Galladay could just take like a little bit of a step forward this year, that this would be just an incredible offense. And we picked up Carrion, and we've picked up a huge leap forward from Galladay. This is now breaking out to be one hell of an offense. As long as they start clicking, and I think that's starting to happen, this team is going to get their 30 points a game. Absolutely, with this offense. It's just incredible. Unless Jim Bob Cooter decides we don't need 30.
That was going to be the thing I was going to come back to, because for me it's about the consistency. And we simply haven't seen any consistency. This is what I was sort of alluding to earlier on, is that you just don't know what to expect from one week to the other. Now, this was, barring a couple of, in particular, frustrating, and I know there were reasons behind them for some of the more short yardage rushes that were called. But yeah, it seemed to me to be a pretty well called game, offensively.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Kenny Galladay, 4 receptions on 9 targets for 98 yards, average of 24.5. So Stafford's long game has not suffered then.
No.
Which is what some people were saying off the back of, was it last week?
Yeah.
Stafford can't throw a deep ball. Well, I'm not saying he was awesome on a lot of his deep balls, but there were some that certainly found their target. That, who was it who had that unfortunate TD drop? Was that Jones, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep, Marvin.
Yeah. That should have been held, but hey ho.
Dennis in the chat bringing up a great point. Packers wanted to win with that last field goal. They were and they're like, yeah, this is all about getting confidence from Mason back, and no, it wasn't. It was about putting 3 points on the board and then hoping with the onside they could get it and take a Hail Mary. That's exactly what they were thinking.
Yeah.
And
Malcolm corrected me on that earlier on as well.
Yeah, I really like Chris Spielman. Loved him as a player, but God, I'm starting to really dislike him in the booth. He's getting to be pretty frustrating to me. Hate to see it.
Not much more to be said on that one,
but he's an Ohio State guy, so what do you expect, right?
Well, yeah.
All right, we got Samson, Josh. He's been asking about Case, just so everyone knows. Nothing's wrong with Case. He's just a hardworking man, and his Sundays are pretty locked up, so he's not able to do the post game show like he wants. I think he's going to get like 1 or 2 in this season, he thinks, but we'll see how that plays out. But he will be back this week. On the weekly show, and he should be back every week. He's just had a couple of things here and there that have gotten in the way and messed it up, and it's a single man's life. That's how things go.
Sometimes life just gets in the way, doesn't it?
For him, it's grinder, but whatever.
Grinder.
All right, we're taking your calls. 248-782-8384. 248-782-8384. Go ahead and give us a ring. We'll get you on the show. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Good question about Agnew. Has anyone heard anything in the post-game show? God, I'm having a hard time. I'm muffed punt.
Look, I can give you an update on what I read about Kerryon Johnson. Whilst briefly off earlier on. Questionable with an ankle. So nothing about his knee.
Okay.
All about his ankle. But no, I've not seen anything or heard anything new about Agnew and his injury yet. So,
yeah, all right. Let's see. I have to touch on something really quick. Fanatics, right? You know that. Isn't that where you get your jersey? Yeah, what jersey? You got your jersey there. Who are you wearing? Let's see. Oh, look at that. GT. Yeah. Don't stand up too tall, because we got the no pants podcasting, right?
No, I was good.
Yeah, I got my hat and got my little plaque over here on the wall, whole thing, right? Where do you get it? Fanatics. Head on over to DetroitLionsPodcast.com, click on that shop link, and go to Fanatics to buy all your Lions gear. It's a great way to support the show by doing something you're going to do anyway. They give us a little kickback, and we appreciate that kickback, but it never costs you anything more. Again, if you're thinking of getting any kind of Lions gear, you want to get that Galladay jersey. That's a good one. Carry on. That's a good one to get. Signed helmets, little helmets, hats, pants, toasters. Look at this. I got my Pro Toast going on, of course. Don't need it today.
Majestic.
Don't need it today. It's not needed for what happened today. But DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Click on the shop link and get all your Lions gear from Fanatics that way and help us help you by doing something you were going to do anyway. All right, rocking and rolling. We got that out of the way. What else about today's game? We touched on the Zebras after they touched us inappropriately. We talked about Kenny Galladay. Pull up his stats really quick and get a look at what he's done so far this year. I feel like he's very quietly been really, really good. And when I say quietly, Lions fans know, right? Because we've been watching it. We've been seeing him do his thing. But nationally, he hasn't gotten a whole lot. And I feel like he may be in a position to where he should maybe be getting more love than he should be from the national press. Which, on the other hand, may be good for us, because if nobody sees it and understands it, then we can keep killing people. Toaster party.
Yeah,
Motown Cat.
Quite this week, but will ever be on standby.
White gloves. Tell me about that, Motown Cat. I don't know what you're getting at with the question.
There was a bit earlier on, and it was in the first quarter, and it was to do with the officials mistakenly calling a play one way because it looked like it had been.
Oh, so we're talking about the
taken out by a Green Bay player, and they were saying, no, they just missed up because they're both wearing white gloves.
Yeah. And
Green Bay's linebackers should be wearing black gloves. There was a reference to that, but I can't recall the detail.
Well, I know you can get your white gloves at Fanatics, but no, I think it was just made hard to see, and that's what they were referencing. I can't tell from me. I couldn't tell if he touched it or who touched that. I know the ball was touched, but I don't know who it was. Yeah, Vikings just went up. Thanks, Soccer Wizard. 10-3 Vikes up. We need them to lose. Love to see them go down.
So Kenny Galladay,
yes,
23 receptions for 330 yards, average of 14.35 and 2 touchdowns. Respectable. Don't know how many targets that's come off.
Right. And do you have the rest of the guys there with him that you can compare against?
No, but I can quickly get somebody. Who are you thinking of? Tate?
Yeah.
Bear with me.
Yeah, halftime show clowns calling Galladay Galloway. This is the expertise you can expect from the national broadcasters, though. I mean, and to be fair, it is hard to know everybody when you're doing this, but that's just you've got stats departments, you've got production departments, you've got more than just an ambling bastard and me putting a show together. With that kind of depth of talent and breadth of talent they got there, they should not be making mistakes like that. I mean, basically, they've got whole groups of people putting their hand up the guy's ass and moving his mouth, and he still can't get it right. I don't know what else to do. And that's just Mike. Go ahead.
Well, you're not wrong. Anyway. So, Golden Tate, 28 yards, 28 receptions for 389 yards. 28 yards. What am I talking about? 13.89.
So you get 389 for Tate.
Yeah. So he's leading. 389 for Tate, 330 for Galladay. Marvin Jones, 233.
233. Wow, that's it feels
but then you look at Jones, he's only had 15 receptions for those yards. So he has the highest average yards per reception at 15.5.
Sure.
So
yeah, that's interesting, because we were talking about that as if Galladay was going to be the guy stretching the field, but it seems like it's Jones still doing that, and Galladay is kind of playing like a slot kind of role a lot. But that's interesting that that's 100 yards more than Jones the Galladay has. It's interesting. We'll see how these guys play out. I mean, there's three guys looking for a 1,000-yard season though. They're on track for that.
Potentially, yeah. Without that, I mean, we're in what week?
Week 5. This is week 5.
Is it week 5 already? My goodness, where's the season gone?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've already got, guys that are pushing to 400 already, so yeah. It's not bad.
No,
But
no.
only. No, hang on a sec. That's because it's not loaded the full page. Just want to have a look at our tight ends as well and see how we were doing, because we don't really have any standout tight ends in, as in, how Ebron, for all his flaws, had that. Maybe it was the kitsch that came with being a first round pick, that star element to him.
Mm-hmm.
It's the tight end group is kind of under the radar. So in terms of receiving yards, there's nothing massive to shout about. We got 29 yards on the season for Luke Wilson, 19 yards on the season for Toilolo.
Anyone want to talk about Eric Ebron?
The bullshit.
Yeah, he never no. He never would have performed in Detroit. And that's it. No matter what he does, if he sinks or swims, or is a star or a failure, Eric Ebron never would have been anything in Detroit. It just wasn't going to work. So just walk away and we'll be fine.
Yeah, shall we draw a line under that there? So there was something that I may struggle to articulate this a little bit. There was something that was brought up. I think it was on a Twitter thread that I was browsing whilst I had the game on, and it was to do with the weaknesses of Green Bay's receiving core making our defense look better than it actually is, because it was giving the defense the time to get to Rodgers that he wouldn't otherwise have had he had his preferred targets available to him. It's stuck in that.
This is such a Lions thing, right? We use the pass to set up the run rather than the run to set up the pass. We use the secondary to set up the sack, to set up the pressure, rather than pressure to set up the secondary. It's just like, okay, one or the other, whatever. But that's how we got after him, because of great coverage. And when Agnew went down, that was bad news. Tabor, as much as people don't like him, and we've talked before, it takes 3 years to really see what a cornerback can do. He was dinged with that hamstring in year one, so he's not super fast, but he seemed to be doing okay out there. He wasn't absolutely ass, right? But him going down, Agnew going down, that hurt, man. That really hurts, and I I hope those guys are okay. We got a lot of guys. I mean, there's a lot of dings that happened this game that could really affect us negatively going forward.
Yeah. Talking about things that have affected the game, TJ Lang. Talk a little bit about him, because we did discuss him and his departure from the game last week. Much as I like TJ Lang, he's a good dude, and I like him as a player. There is a part of me that hopes that this is his last season as a professional footballer, because if he's had that many bangs to the head and was clearly incapacitated from the last one, he's the sort of guy that you want to see live a long, healthy life, and see his family grow old and the rest of it. And yeah, much as we value him when he's available, and I know there's a big knock on his availability, which you brought up last week as well, Chris. Got to say, I would not. What's the word I'm looking for? I would not be surprised. I'd not be disappointed. I would not feel let down by him if he decided, you know what, it's time to hang up the cleats and walk away as alone.
No, I don't disagree at all. And yes, Brady, FTP. No, I wouldn't feel bad at all if he walked away. I mean, I love him. I want to see him play, but that kind of thing. Look, man, we all saw what happened with Junior Seau, and that it's tragic and heartbreaking. You don't want to see that happen to your players. I wish we would have gotten all Lang's good years here instead of having to see him on the FTPs, but but he, as a human being, he's a Detroiter. He's a Detroit guy, anyway. But just hope he's okay. It's kind of the same thing with Ziggy. I love Ziggy. I love the concept and the idea of Ziggy, but he's not healthy, and it's not shots to the head. It's just that he can't stay on the field, and we're paying a lot of money this year for him not to be on the field, and we just got to stop doing that. And sometimes, again, like Ebron, right? you cut your losses. He's doing his thing that he's doing, and that's what he's going to do. Fine, Ebron, do your thing, right? Go. You knowing he never would have done it here. Someone mentioned it, Jiggly Scrub in the chat, that if he was here, he'd be taking away Galladay's targets in many cases, which would, that means look at the drop rate, right? That's a lot of drop passes. It's time sometimes to move on from our players, that we love, and it's unfortunate, but hopefully he makes it. Yeah, and Charles brings up a good one. Ziggy reminds us of Levy. Just want him back. You think about that. This is again such a dang Lions luck thing. Think if Levy had been healthy all those years, because we banked on him being healthy, right? We banked on Ziggy being healthy this year. And I mean, look, he had everything he needed in the offseason to be healthy. And he's shown that even with all that, he can't be. This should have been a year like year one, ding free, ready to go. And he wasn't. So you just got to kind of walk away, I think. But that's me.
No, I wouldn't disagree.
Ooh, Joe B brings up a really great point. And before I touch on that really quick, I want to give you guys a number, 248-782-8384. 248-782-8384 if you want to give us a call. Joe B, the Lions given a check to Spielman's, Stephanie Spielman organization for the cancer. Great, classy move by the organization, right? And I get, see, this is the thing. As much as I have grown to dislike Spielman in the booth, and I've always disliked the fact that he was an Ohio State product, because I absolutely hate Ohio State. But I loved him as a linebacker in the Lions. It's a tragic story about his wife, and to be able to see him turn that into, I think they said $22 million raised for cancer research, and zero of the money he raises goes to overhead. That's pretty. That's where, like, so you got two really classy things going, right? You got Spielman doing something great, trying to help people, and then the organization being able to to try to push it for him, and knowing that all that money is going directly to the research. That's absolutely awesome. So good move, Detroit Lions. Good move, Spielman. You guys rock. Hey, Garth, he's listening from a bar in Glasgow, Scotland. That's a big up to Mike in the UK Massive.
Hey there, Garth.
Oh man, that's awesome. It's not, it's kind of strange when you think about it. Like, I'm thinking, well, people in the UK are listening to us, but I'm talking to a guy in the UK while people in the UK are listening to us. Our stupidity knows no bounds, evidently. All right, let's see. What else we got going on here with the game? I got to talk about Peter Von Panda. Not that I have to, but I kind of want to. Check out his YouTube channel, guys. He's a sponsor of the show. He's a great guy. But he has one of the funniest and most informative. It's interesting. His YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Peter Von Panda. youtube.com/Peter Von Panda. He does product reviews. So before you use our link to Amazon, head on over to Peter, see his reviews on the stuff on his site. But he does some pretty just plain funny stuff. My son, who's getting close to 14 now, and I sat down running through some of his videos, and I mean, like I was talking last week on the show, my boy there's points where he couldn't even breathe. Let's see, we'll give the phone number out really quick here. Oh my God. Windows. Done it again. Hello. Yep, Windows did it again. My fucking God. And we got a call too. All right, let's see what I can do here. Hello. There we are. All right. Man, this is...
Sorry, dude. I didn't catch any of what you were just saying there.
I was cursing.
Yeah.
Audio's back.
Like a lip read.
Gee, mini Christmas. All right, we're back. We're here. Sorry about that, guys. This is Microsoft Windows. I don't know what to say about it. So we're back. Okay, so we'll take your phone call. Someone had just tried to call while the audio was out, of course. So we didn't get that. Anyway, where were we? Oh, man, Psychedelic Monk. I was out there myself, man. Out in California. And the podcast was the only thing I had going for me as well. It's funny. I'll tell you how I got involved, like doing this thing. It was I was out there. It was all like meathead Bears fans and Packers fans, Cowboys fans running around. LA had no team. It was like a wasteland, and I had no one to talk Lions with, and I found the Lions subreddit and became pretty active on there for a while, and then decided, you know what? I used to work in radio in Detroit years ago, and it's back when we were like number 6 media market, and then it was great, loved it, but I moved on and figured I wanted a career that had a little more stability in it, so we did that, and took me out to California, and I was really dying because I had no Lions fans to talk to, and so the subreddit, like I said, was a place to go. It was really cool, and then I was like, man, I could do a podcast, and it'd be a way to kind of scratch that little radio itch again, have some fun with that, and talk to people about the Lions, and kind of give back to the Reddit community that was, kind of supported me or kept me going there for so long when I was in my pain point. So that's it, man. That's how it happens. So, you're in NorCal. No, that's cool. So yeah, man, I know what it's like to be out there and be alone. And for me, this wound up being it's my own kind of therapy, and it's my way to connect. So, thanks, Brady. I have a soothing voice, Mike. Hey, Mike. You know why we're pants free? Just wait till we add the real video.
Looking forward to that.
Footballhub.com. All right, let's we'll move on. We're going to finish up here and see what we got left. If there's any calls, we'll give the number one more time, 248-782-8384. We'll take you guys up on the show. Anything you got, we'll talk about. We're good with that. I'm going to do a quick run through the tweet machine here. And 24-0 in the first half. What a lead. That was crazy. I can't believe we did that. And I was tweeting after that. After watching remember the Bears-Packers game where the Bears just destroyed the Packers in the first half, and then the second half the Packers came in. That was ugly. I was worried about that. I was very, very worried about that. All right, hey, we got a caller. How you doing, caller? What's going on? What's your name?
His name's Garrett. I'm doing pretty good. Just got back from church. Unfortunately, couldn't watch the game here, but pretty stoked about the results.
Yeah.
The reason I was calling is because I just wanted to kind of touch on the fact of like a younger Lions fan, how confusing it is kind of going through the turmoil of these inconsistent weeks, and then try to explain to your friends why you're beating teams like the Packers or Patriots and then losing to Jets, San Francisco, and all that crap. But do you guys have any advice as a younger Lions fan?
Yes.
Maybe how to cope?
First off, stay away from the booze. There's many a liver that's been destroyed by the Detroit Lions, including mine in some form or fashion. How to cope? I think there's times, and I catch myself doing it. It's that you've really got to be able to kind of disconnect and work on your deep breathing or mindfulness or whatever the hell they're calling it this week, right? There's times when you just got to say, I can't care too much about it. I just can't. And that's where I was after the Jets game. I was like, man, I can't be this angry. I can't, like, because like in my younger years, I would have been flipping, right? I'm a little bit of a type A. I'd flip my shit, but no, there's times, and the Jets game was a good one when it was like the last loss we had to the Bears. Case was so broken after that game. I mean, he's like, I don't even want to do the show, Chris. We're talking about, can we just not do it? Like he was absolutely ready to tap out, and I was like, dude, just do it. It's therapy, right? It's therapy for you. It's therapy for the people that listen. It's therapy for all of us. You just got to do it. On those times, there's those just heartbreaking moments. You just got to say, it's the Lions, man. It'll one day, it's the thing when they finally get that big win, when they finally take the big one home, and you look back and you'll think of all these trials and tribulations, and you'll say, fuck yeah, man, I don't know if it was worth it, but I made it.
So I do have one more question for you guys.
Sure.
Would you say, since like we have won two of our most like anticipated rivals before the bye, would you say that maybe like the quote unquote mastermind with Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia, do you think they were gearing and like designing this team for maybe divisional rivals and some of those bigger matchups, and kind of like maybe didn't put as much planning into like the teams that we weren't as worried about, and maybe that was kind of a fault by them in not being prepared?
I think a couple things there. Yeah, I think absolutely this team was built to play in the NFC North. This team was built to beat this division. The Khalil Mack thing added a little wrinkle to the Chicago Bears, but
I agree on the Bears.
I think we're built for this division. I don't think that they schemed less for the other teams. I think that they're just trying to find their legs on all the new scheme. And we talked a little bit about it. I mean, from head to toe, top to bottom, Patricia has completely changed from daily routines to every aspect of what they do. And then you think about it, like you go. Are you a student, or do you have a job that you do?
Yeah, well, I'm actually originally from Alaska, but I'm in Oregon right now, going to EOU. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. So like I think about it, and even you. I mean, you've got your routine you do every day, right? What if everything in the middle of the semester was absolutely changed? The times, days of your classes, the whole thing just got shifted around. It would take. So there'd be a real adjustment period. And if you think like every aspect of everything you do of your job or at school got changed, it would take a while to kind of get back into the groove and figure out what the hell was going on. And that's a little bit of what's going on with this team. And then at the same time, you're watching these guys scheming differently and looking for the weaknesses on the opponent. So you've got like a general base scheme that you're looking at with the team, and then you're tweaking that, and they're trying to learn all of that all at the same time. I think it was, I go back to the signing of Jim Caldwell for an extra year. And I think that's because Matt Patricia didn't want to leave. He wanted one more out of New England. I really believe that. I think before Bob Quinn even got here, I think Matt Patricia was his coach. And you think back to how all that went down, where the players said, no, we love Caldwell. So it's like, okay, we're going to keep him for another year. I can't have immunity on my hands, right? So we signed him on. And then what happened? Well, nothing, right? So, okay, now he's got his coach. But I think we're a year behind the progression on this team that I expected us to have. I think this is a step, I think this is framing out to be a good year for the team. I think we're going to have some real successes, especially now with the bye week hitting right here. I think this is a good time for the team to kind of retool, get healthy again. You got a couple guys that got dinged up here, so it's good for that. And kind of evaluate, right? You got the rocket scientist. He's kind of like a Six Sigma guy. He's going back and evaluating what's happening. He's going to make those incremental changes. He's going to expect the players to do the same. I think this is just a good time for the bye. I didn't think it was. I thought it was early, but I think for this team, it's good. And I think we're going to see some real upside as this season progresses. But I think next year is absolutely the year where expectations should be through the roof. I think 10-11 win season is the expectation for next year, even before free agency and the draft. So that's the other thing for the coping mechanism, right? There's always next year.
Yeah. That's been my coping mechanism for the last few years.
Yeah, about 1977 I started that one.
Yeah, you've got a head start on it. But no, you've got to remain an eternal optimist as a Lions fan and always find the silver lining and be prepared to just walk away for 2 or 3 days, maybe 3 or 4 times a season.
Yeah.
Switch off from football.
And it's good. It teaches humility, right? I mean, the caustic acidity of a place like Twitter and social media that's out there all the time, you kind of think, well, that's what the world is like. No, man, you be a Lions fan, be humbled, and enjoy the good things when they happen, and appreciate that, hey, bad things happen, and sometimes they're out of your control. They're in the officials' control.
Yeah, no, well, appreciate it, guys, and yeah, go Lions. Love the show, and I'll let you get back to it. So,
all right, thanks, bro. Thanks for the call, man.
Thanks, Garrett.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, bud. All right, I think that's going to do it for us, buddy boy. Let's get rolling on this and talk about how we want your involvement. Use the comments in the subreddit to give us your feedback. Let us know what you think of the show. Also, don't forget about us on Patreon, patreon.com/DetroitLionsPodcast, patreon.com/DetroitLionsPodcast. Appreciate all the donors there. If you could join as well, you get access to a bunch of really cool stuff. So please do. Also, check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/TheDetroitLionsPodcast, facebook.com/TheDetroitLionsPodcast. Make sure to follow us also on the Twitter machine at DETLionsPodcast. DET Lions Podcast is the very best place to see Mike
with no pants on.
That's right. All right, give us a call via Skype, Detroit Lions Podcast, Detroit Lions Podcast, all one word, or call us on the Lions line, 929-33-LIONS, 929-335-4667. Check us out on Spotify or go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Subscribe to the podcast so we can come in your little box automatically. Thank you for tuning in, and we're going to see you next time on the Detroit Lions Podcast. It's your Detroit Lions and Reddit connection. Well, thanks everybody who stuck around through all of those audio issues. I really apologize. It's I was out all week in Puerto Rico, so I didn't get as much time to set everything up ahead of time, and I took a bunch of it with me. So Mike saw me freaking out with like a minute and a half left in the game, still connecting stuff to the board and all that shit. So it didn't go the way we wanted it to go. So I apologize again. Thanks for listening and sticking with us, guys. And thanks, Brady, for tuning in. We're gonna have a lot of fun. This is next time. I think we have Mike. I think we're going to have. Let me look really quick at our schedule here. We'll have Mike the Ambling Bastard. We are going to have Sandman here. We actually might even have Case as well. So we may be doing a 4-way. How about that, huh? All right, folks. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side. And of course, we got the regular show this week. Love you all. Bye-bye.